I gave her my lawyer's card and told her that all contact with me will be through with the lawyer. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Aura Zone Stories. Today we have a story where this husband took all the evidence of his wife's activities and served her the divorce paper at her office. Let's see how this story ended. I haven't seen much of my son this year, didn't get him for the summer because of this virus. Found out at the end of September that wife of 5 years is cheating on me. Have spent most of my time doing the FBI thing, which has been a giant can of worms with no apparent bottom. Have had this nasty woman in my house, and I have to sit there and pretend that nothing is wrong, when I just want to throw everything at her and kick her out. My lawyer just keeps telling me not yet. I haven't slept in my bed in almost 2 months. Gonna burn that when she's gone. Have had no bedroom activity, which has caused her to accuse me of cheating. If she tries to hug me, I have to sit there and take it when it makes me want to vomit. When I look at her, I see bugs crawling all over her. I want her gone, but it's just not yet. There is not much left to burn on my fuse. It's like being locked in a big room with someone, and there's just a table there and the room echoes. And they start tapping on the table and tapping until you just want to flip the table and strangle them. I can't even talk to anybody about it right now because not yet. I'm angry at myself and disappointed in myself for putting myself in the position to let someone do this to me again. I just want this to be over. I'll also provide some background as my wife's browsing history. Yes, I am spying. Shows she hasn't used Reddit in 6 months. Honestly, at this point I don't even care. I'm white-knuckling it right now. Anyone who has found out and said nothing until they served their cheating piece of crap, you have my admiration. This is hard. I got home late Sunday. It's a 14-mile drive. This was good. I really didn't want to see or talk to her. I was tired. Went to my chair and slept. I haven't slept well in 2 months. I've lost 15 pounds. I look and feel like trash. But it was the first 8 hours I had gotten in a while. Monday my wife tried to initiate some intimacy. I just cannot get it up for this woman. My Johnson is up bright and early before me every morning, so this is nothing physical with me. It's just that for once, my stuff is in total agreement with my mind and heart. This upset her and we got into a pretty heated argument. I told her maybe it was something wrong with me. I'm 50 years old, this thing happens. She started insinuating again that I'm cheating on her. She said that I'm not being a good husband. I haven't did bedroom activity with her in over 2 months. I haven't told her I loved her in over 2 months. Clearly I'm doing something behind her back. I mean, she tried to gaslight me. Yeah, I was doing something behind her back. I was piecing everything together. D-Day for me was September 25th. I work in collision repair. Specifically, I work on the vehicles that are considered train wrecks. September 25th, I wound up cutting my leg open on a truck I was working on. That was a trip to the emergency room. I got 5 stitches inside my leg and 34 stitches on the outside. It was pretty bad. I got put on some hefty painkillers and there was no way I was going to drive. So I called my wife. No answer. Called 5 minutes later. No answer. Called again. No answer. Texted her, babe, pick up, I need you. Call me. Called her again. No answer. More texts. Nothing. About an hour and a half of this. So I got an Uber to take me home. We turn onto my street, come in view of my house, and she is standing in our doorway with the GM of where she works. I told the driver to stop. This wasn't a peck, folks, they were swapping spit. She was supposed to be at work. I pulled out my phone, took a couple pictures, and told the driver to keep driving. I had him take me back to work. I sat there in the break room for 4 hours, head down on the table. When the painkillers wore off, I drove home, in pain from my leg and from everything going through my head. She wasn't home when I got there. She came home a couple hours later. She acted all concerned. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. I asked how her day was, and she made up some lies about work that day. I know it was lie. A week later I learned for the first time that she hasn't worked a Friday in 3 years. I've never really used Reddit much. It was always there, but I had no real interest in it till then. I was looking for crap on dealing with cheaters and this sub showed up. So I read stuff here, just trying to find out what I should be doing right now. I was reading about all the red flags and just saying yep. Always on the phone, always texting. For some reason can't answer my calls or texts. She had no idea until last Monday that I had sat in the emergency room trying to call her, texting her. In 2 whole months she had not looked at our chat log. at all. She was yelling at me that I need to be a better husband, that I'm not doing enough for her. I got so annoyed I grabbed my phone, opened the chat log and shoved it in her face. Showed her those unanswered texts. I rarely raise my voice, but I yelled at her that the one time I needed her to be there for me I got ghosted. She pulled out her phone, looked. Then she left the house for a couple hours. When she came back she apologized and then lied right to my face. Oh, she had a hard day at work that day. Didn't notice because she was so busy. The truth is she didn't know about the calls and texts because she was too busy doing bedroom activity with her boss in my house to answer her phone. In the time between that day and now, I've snooped her phone, her laptop, her iPad. Learned I could look at all her activities from one of her old phones. I've installed cameras in the house. I have been watching her cheat on me in real time for 2 months. Let me tell you something. I've always thought Apple products are for idiots. They really are. Cheaters should probably start using Android or something, because Apple syncs across everything. I've learned she doesn't just dislike my son, she hates that kid. Probably because him being at my house in the summer was cramping her style. I've learned this affair has been going on for years. I've learned it's not just her boss. One of the men she has been doing bedroom activity has been someone I have worked with and considered a friend for over 14 years. She works with his wife. His wife has been helping her hide the affair with her boss. They introduced me to her. They watched me propose to her. They were at the wedding. They let me marry this woman, knowing she was cheating on me. I know of 4 men. 2 I know, 2 I don't know. They did bedroom activity within my bed, on my couch, on my kitchen table where I eat, in my shower. I went up to my property and where I hunt deer to get away for 1 weekend. I invited her. I always ask her to come whenever I go anywhere. She always declines. When I got back, I just watched this parade of men go through my house and did bedroom activity with my wife. She didn't even shower and clean herself off between 2 of them. What a pig. Yeah, there's a camera in the bathroom too. Same thing when I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving. She spent the whole weekend doing bedroom activity with other men in my home, in my bed. For 2 months I have kept this to myself until I told my ex-GF what is going on. I'm wearing this calm mask, but I am inches from Hulk smash mode. I almost confronted her about her cheating, but I just ate the lies she told me. I apologized for the argument. I told her I would make an appointment with a doctor for my erectile dysfunction. And then I read her text to her boss calling me a limp, and she can't wait for Friday. This is not the woman I fell in love with 7 years ago. I'd like to say she's pure evil, but I'm thinking she's got severe mental health problems. Certainly she's a sociopath. Whatever, I did not sign up for this. It was very hard for me to ask her to marry me. Since my first divorce, I had a hard time believing that anything nice a woman said to me was what she really meant. I've chased off 2 fantastic women in my life because I was still messed in the head from my first wife. More so what I went through after the divorce than she didn't really love me. I got mistreated in my first divorce. I walked away from it with $43 in my pocket. No home, no car, no means to do my job, no support from my family, and had to couch surf for the next 3 years because everything I made went to alimony and paying off our debt. 22 years old and my life destroyed before it really even started. I spent my 24th birthday on my friend's couch, drunk, with a gun in my mouth, bawling like a baby, because I didn't have the stones to do it. I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. Well, since that day, I have kept $43 in my wallet to remind me of the lowest I have ever been. I'm not saying that's where I am now, but I feel like I did after that. Yeah, I'm wiser and covered my back this time. But you know, the first time, I caught them in the act. Had to do it the old-fashioned way, come home early from a trip. But it was over. The extent of the gaslighting was her saying it's not what it seems, and then screaming at me to stop as I beat the crap out of my brother and his friend. Don't do this. This hurt me in the divorce big time. But it was over. There was no lies. Nothing could be denied. All the therapy I have gone through, it's all gone. This time around it's this slow process of deceit. Holding everything in. Just getting lied to all the time. Even when she doesn't need to lie, she lies. I feel that every time I blink, she did bedroom activity with some other guy. I no longer love this woman. Let's be clear, there will be no working this out. I've checked out. My anniversary is a day that will live in infamy. Pearl Harbor Day. I'm going to make sure she remembers it. But the seconds seem like hours. I'm worn out, I have a constant headache. All the therapy I have gone through, it's all gone. Edit. I've needed to square away my financials, have life insurance policies changed, change my will, protect my retirement, and so on. I want to surprise her on our anniversary. It's fitting. It's December 7th. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but I want to humiliate her. I'll suffer the slights, the disparaging remarks about me she makes to these douchebags. I plan on making it worth it. I want her to feel as thoroughly destroyed as I did at 22 years old. This is my plan. I imagine boss's wife will probably go there and make a scene after my wife is served. As for my friend's wife, well, she works with my wife. They've been friends for 8 years. I have been friends with her for 14 years. She knows about my wife's cheating, and I want to have a conversation with her about friendship and loyalty before I drop the bomb. She's going to be the only one of our mutual friends I will talk to, as I expect some of them are going to try to mediate in some way, and I don't feel like letting the witch use a middleman. That's what my lawyer is for. After that, I will be no contact with the witch and all the mutuals. I will talk to her folks when the dust settles a little bit. They're good people. I think I will owe them that. I had her served yesterday. For those asking, I wasn't in a good state of mind to write about it yesterday. Still not really, but I will get it off my chest. I woke up and left the house, got myself some breakfast while waiting for her to leave for work, rented a truck, went back home and changed the locks. My friend and her husband came over, he brought a friend and we packed up her things. We loaded up our bedroom furniture that I got her as a wedding gift, my couch, my dining table, just all the furniture she defiled. Took it to storage, put all her clothes in garbage bags, was going to throw her dirty clothes in with the clean by my friend wouldn't let me. We got done after 11 a.m. At around lunchtime, I bought flowers and chocolates and went to her work. I went and gave her the flowers and Candy gave her a big hug. She was all smiles and blushes. Her coworkers were doing the "Aw, that's so sweet" thing. I told her that I would love to take her to lunch, but I had to go get a checkup on my leg. But to not make plans for the night, because I wanted to give her a night she would remember. I gave her a goodbye hug and started walking out. At this point, I'm going to start calling her GM, Tom. As I was leaving, I saw her boss and gave him a big smile and said, "Hey Tom, how are ya?" Gave him a wave and left. Then I went and got some lunch. At 2 p.m., a deputy would be walking into my wife's work to serve her. At 2 p.m. I was standing in front of Tom's house. I texted him the picture I took on the day I caught them. I took a selfie in front of his house and sent that too. I knocked on the door and Mrs. Tom answered. She knows me a little bit from parties and things my wife's work had. I told her that my wife and her husband were having an affair. She didn't believe me. I showed her that first picture I took, and I showed her a selfie they took while my wife was giving him a BJ on my couch, and she slapped me. I just stood there and she started crying. I gave her a thumb drive with everything pertaining to my wife and her husband that I had. I told her my wife was cheating on me with multiple men, get checked for STDs. I gave her my lawyer's card and my number. Then she asked why was I doing this to her. And to be honest, why did I do that? I hurt her pretty bad. I feel like the biggest piece of trash for doing that. I told her she had a right to know and felt like an idiot for giving her that answer. As I was leaving, that's when my phone started blowing up. Didn't answer any calls or texts. I just went home. When I got home, I changed my FB status to divorced. I started reading the texts from my wife. What is this? What are you doing? All that stuff. I messaged her back and told her she could come to the house at 7 p.m. and not 1 minute before to get her clothes. Apparently, Tom didn't tell her what I did right away, as I imagine he had his own problems at the moment. But my wife sent me a text a little later calling me some names for telling Mrs. Tom. So he did tell her. My friend that covered up for my wife, gonna call her Amber, started calling me. So I answered. I answered with, "How long have you known that my wife and Tom were having an affair? Please don't lie to me." And she told me what I suspected. The whole time, since before my wife and I had met. All this time, I was the side piece. My whole marriage is a sick joke. Let me tell you, that's a bitter pill to swallow. I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said it's because they thought I would go crazy, get violent and such. I told her that she knew me better than that. She said she kept it secret because she was her friend. What about me? I wasn't. I asked her if I knew her husband was cheating, wouldn't she want me to tell her? As a friend, wouldn't I be obligated to let her know something she should know? She said yes. So I hung up and sent her pictures my wife had taken of her and her husband, and texted her back with my lawyer's number and said that my lawyer has everything I know. Then I told her never to contact me again. At about 4 p.m., my wife showed up at the house and found out about the locks. She started banging on the door and yelling. I didn't answer. She tried calling again. I turned my ringer off. Then she broke a window and left. At close to 7 p.m., 2 deputies parked out front. One is one of the people that helped me move stuff earlier. His wife showed up, also my friend. 7 p.m. rolls around and my wife showed up. She looked pretty subdued. Pretty sure her and Amber had gotten into it by then. I gave her her clothes, the storage key and address, my lawyer's card. Told her that all contact with me will be through her. My wife started with the "I love you" crap. We can work this out. She's sorry, she loves me. A mistake, she doesn't love them. It didn't mean anything. I just pointed at my lawyer's card. She said that it's her house too, and I can't kick her out. I told her it's my home, and that she literally destroyed herself out of it. This when she got really loud. All the "I love yous" turned into "hate yous." The deputies turned on their lights and neighbors had come out to gawk at the train wreck. I remained fairly calm and had my hands at my side through this. She kept screaming at me. I think she might have been drinking. She started crying that she had nowhere to go, and when I told her that I don't care. Well, I learned something new about my wife. She can throw a right hook. Gave me a fat lip and a bloody nose. I didn't move. I just stood there and let her do it. She tried scratching my face. The deputies restrained her. I declined pressing charges. Told them to just make her leave. They filed an incident report so I could get a temporary restraining orders. Actually, I'm glad she did that. When she left, I went back in, and while I was cleaning myself up, all that memories I should have been feeling for the last 2 months started to hit me. I'm pretty exhausted right now. I thought I would feel better after this all got out. I don't. I feel awful. I'm not someone prone to crying, but I've been doing a lot of that since last night. There's almost 600 unanswered texts and calls on my phone and growing. I'm going no contact with our mutual friends. I don't want any of them trying to mediate things. I'll sort them out some other time. I didn't call my son last night. I've always called him every night. I'll tell him tonight. He'll probably not be upset by the news. He wasn't fond of her. I met with her and her lawyer today. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got enough. We signed for an uncontested divorce. It will be official in about 2 months. That's the good news. I feel some relief from this, but really sad about the whole thing. First off, she did not or could not look at me through almost the entire proceeding. I'm not going to pretend to know what was going through her mind, but I would like to think she didn't have the balls to look me in the eye. She got a decent lawyer. At least he knew he got handed a dog's dinner. They asked if reconciliation was possible, and we did dangle it even though it is not possible. We asked for full disclosure of what she did. He had already had her write it out. What she wrote down, however, was less than what I already know. I read what she wrote down, and conveniently, the 2 fellas I didn't know the identity of were not included in it. My lawyer produced stills from the camera footage. Who's this? And who's this? Well, she wasn't very forthcoming with him either. They asked us to step out. We did. I didn't catch every word, but he didn't sound too pleased. When we came back in, I got a more truthful version. The 2 guys were online hookups and very recent. She'd been having an affair with Tom for more or less the whole time I've known her. She said she broke it off with him some time after I proposed and until about a year into our marriage. I think I believe her on that. I mean, I shouldn't believe anything she says, but I did ask if she was ever faithful during our marriage. She started doing bedroom activity with FP, my coworker, Amber's husband, on July 4th of 2019. We had a 4th BBQ and she gave him a BJ then, at my house. While I was there, said she didn't love him, she just got off on it. During this year she just got bolder and started hooking up with random guys from online sites. I'm pretty sure she probably had some parking lot hookups and such, but I didn't press on that. I asked the attorneys to give us the room for a bit, because I wanted to ask some private stuff. They walked out. I asked her why. Not why she cheated, why she married me. Why didn't she say no? She said she loved me. Great way of showing it. She wanted to be married. She wanted the security. I was good in bed. But she's loved Tom for 10 years. He wasn't leaving his wife and her clock was ticking. So I was a meal ticket basically. She said I made her happy, but she wanted what she wanted. For those asking, they have both been fired. Amber raised her voice at work. I didn't need to make a stink about anything. Ex-wife is living with her parents. I don't know what Tom and Mrs. Tom are doing. I was told it is none of my business. I think he is trying to stay married. If he stays married, I may have to give him a beating. I asked if there was anything else I ought to know. She told me she got a termination 2 years ago because she didn't know who the father was. Wow, that was a low blow. In the beginning, we tried to have a kid, but we opted for the quit trying and enjoy the bedroom activity approach. I would have loved to have another kid. Like a daughter I could spoil rotten. I had unprotected bedroom activity with my wife near daily. There's a huge chance this kid was mine. I will never know. This was enough to make me get up and walk out. You all can talk about a bullet dodged. I'm just thinking she finished my child. If anyone here has ever done any boxing, there's a point where the blows just keep coming but you don't feel them. I mean, they're doing damage, but it doesn't hurt like the first few punches. It's just too much and you get numb to them. This is where I am at. She could tell me she started the Chicago fire, and I would not be surprised. I called the lawyers back in, told mine to go to Plan B. Plan B is I took my demand for alimony off of the table. I want the divorce agreement uncontested and signed. This is the fastest way. I don't want a monthly reminder of this woman even in the form of a paycheck. So at 5:43 p.m., she signed. In around 2 months it will be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, all my property, no alimony for either of us. She gets $73,000 from our savings, is not to contact me ever, and we are done. I do not care what happens to her now. I don't want to know what she'll do. I don't care. For her own good and anyone she meets in the future, I hope she goes to a shrink. But I am done giving importance about this woman. I, in no way, feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I've eaten a trash sandwich and this is all I can taste. I've had nothing to be happy about for 3 months, and I am not happy now. I don't see that in my future, like at all. That termination has been on my mind since she said it. I think it's going to be in there for a long time. I don't know what I am going to do in the immediate future or long term. Maybe when this is all finalized I'll feel some kind of release. I don't know. Right now, I just want to be left alone. No more oh man, so sorry to hear that or any of that. Right now I just want quiet. This whole time I've been thinking about everything I've ever done, and I don't see anywhere where I have done right, only where I've gone wrong. I know this is an awful mindset to have, but it's what I'm left with. All I can say is at least I got to keep my stuff this time. But I won't be doing this again. I started therapy in July. I'm dealing with a lot of things in it. This latest round of infidelity, talking about it with you and a therapist. I have issues related yet unrelated to deal with. To put it bluntly, I want to reconcile with my sister. She is all I have left. I honestly wonder if I have the courage to do it, because I have held a grudge for so long. I want my son to know family members from my side who are actually related by blood, not just my friends that he calls uncle or aunt. This is something my first round with infidelity has cost me. I want some things back. If she's willing to talk to me, then I'll talk with her. Pretty sure my cousin will facilitate this. I know I advocate for dumping everyone who won't back you, but it has been nearly 3 decades. My parents are dead. My brother is dead. There's just my sister left. My therapist is on board with this. I just need to work up the balls to extend the olive branch. I don't want to hold a grudge forever. I believe I was right to cut ties with them all, but I don't want this anymore. I have custody of my son indefinitely, and I'd like to be able to give him some semblance of normal. I don't miss my ex, nor my first ex. I do miss my sister. I have let my first wife dictate all of my relationships for far too long. Sometimes I just feel haunted. I believe it will be a good thing. Maybe if I get back some of what I lost, I will be able to move forward. I'm not hung up on my ex, but I am hung up on my past. And for those that want to know, no, I don't know how the ex-wife is doing. I don't talk to her. No, I don't know how Amber is doing. She's been bleached out of my life. I don't know how the ex-wife's partners are doing. What's making me smile about this is how much he has moved on, and how much she hasn't. Considering what she had done, what she put him through, and what little regard she had for his feelings, it's only right how things have reversed. Glad to hear that he was able to meet up amicably with his sister. So glad it went okay with his sister. I holding my thumbs that she can be a good aunt to his son.